Buying property can be a battle of patience, strategy, and negotiation. But what if you knew how to navigate the property market like a pro? Today we're going to be breaking down some key elements of our Property Negotiators Handbook, a blueprint that we use to help our clients purchase properties when they love them. The first step is understanding what kind of market you're in. Are you in a buyer's market where there's more supply and less demand, putting you in a stronger position to negotiate? Or are you in a seller's market where there's high demand and less stock? Maybe it's a balanced market with equal negotiating power. Understanding what market you're in, identifying this will give you an understanding on how much leverage you have. One of the biggest mistakes I see property buyers make is taking the auction guide price or the for sale price at face value. A good question to ask a real estate agent is, how did you arrive at this price? If they hesitate or the answer doesn't really make sense, that's an indication that you can start building a case for your offer. Most agents will keep you up to date with what's happening if they get offers or anything else if you're a contract holder. If you like a property and you don't want to wake up one morning and find out that it's sold, it's best for you to tell the agent that you have interest. Don't be scared. Never make an offer without doing your due diligence. And there's a whole bunch of different due diligence that you can do depending on the type of property you're looking at. If it is a house, you want to do a building and pest inspection, you want to have the contract reviewed. We like to go above and beyond and make sure that there's no developments that are going to inhibit any of the reasons that you're purchasing the property. For example, if you have a really beautiful outlook, you don't want to buy the property and then have that built out. If you're looking at purchasing a unit, something in strata, you'd want to do a strata report. And depending on the strata report, you could also go above and beyond and perhaps get a building and pest report if you can see signs of things that perhaps the strata hasn't picked up on yet, like concrete cancer. Making sure that you do all this due diligence is going to help you down the line. You don't want anything nasty to just appear out of the woodwork and ruin you having your dream property. Another really great thing about doing all your due diligence is you might be able to dig things up that even the agent didn't know, and you can use these to your advantage throughout the negotiation. The thing I always recommend to clients is try to not have a deadline for yourself. What I mean by this is be ready but not in a rush. If you have all of your ducks lined up and you find the perfect property, you can transact on that and you can get yourself a great deal. If you don't have your ducks lined up and you miss property, it's just going to be heartbreaking, and I've seen that have an adverse effect on people. You want to be in a really good state of mind. The other thing is you don't want to have a time limit like 3 months to try and buy a property, right? Because it might take a little bit longer than that. You definitely don't want to have a month or 2 months. Let's talk about how to make offers. You have 3 types of offers. You have a verbal offer, you have a written offer, or you could also put an offer on a contract in New South Wales with a 66W and a check, and that is the most aggressive way that you can possibly make an offer. The way that I use offers is depending on how big the gap is. If someone's quoting something that's far above where we see value in a property, let's say for example, someone's quoting 2 million and we see value at 1.8, maybe even less, we might just make a verbal offer. It's like making a jab in a boxing match just to check the distance out. So if you say 1.8, if they counter you, then you know that you're in the right ballpark, you have something to work with. If they don't counter you, it's back to the drawing board. Sometimes you might just need to leave it on simmer for a little while until they get a little bit more realistic. There's a lot of vendors that think that their property is worth a lot more than they think it is. A written offer is a little bit more serious. Most agents will ask for a written offer even if you give a verbal offer. That's fine, it's not binding. You can make the offer and just sort of figure it out. It's going to give you a really good understanding on where the owner actually sees value for their property, because the truth is, the owner doesn't even know what it's going to sell for. It's a good way to try and judge the distance. Now, if you find that you see value around where the price guide is, and you've done all your due diligence and you're happy with the property, and you think, look, I think that this is actually priced really well and I think we can close this gap and pick it up where I see value, That might be a case where you might put an offer on a contract. If you put an offer on a contract, it's very aggressive. It feels very final when the agent takes the contract around to the vendor's house and puts it on the table in front of them, and they can see, if I sign right now, then the deal's done, my property's sold. And it might give them a little bit of fear of losing you if you give them everything that they need to finalize their deal. Just another couple of little tips. Firstly, you need to know when to walk away. If you make an offer and there's no counter offer and you keep having to come up to meet the price, that's not negotiation. That's just you buying a property for the price that it was advertised. And that takes no skill at all. Do all your due diligence and have a number where you're willing to walk away. And if you can't get to that number, walk away. The number of times that we have done this and come back to the property a couple of months later, once the owner's expectations have dropped a little bit, it happens all the time. People are so excited when they put their property on the market. The hardest time to purchase a property is going to be in the first 2 weeks in the auction campaign, and the second hardest time is going to be in the last 2 weeks of the auction campaign. People are very excited when they put their property on the market. They've paid all of this money for marketing. The agents told them what a great campaign they're about to have. The first 2 weeks, they're going to get some people through. They're going to attract some interest. This first 2 weeks is when most people who are looking in the market are going to see the properties, because they're checking real estate and domain every single day. So when a property pops up, they're looking, they're going to go have a look. So this is when you get the most people through the property. The last 2 weeks, if the property hasn't been priced well in the first 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks, it can be a really great time to negotiate. Or if the property has been priced well, the last 2 weeks is when they tighten up all the people that they're going to bring into the auction room, and that can be a really difficult time to purchase the property. If a property passes in at auction and continues on its campaign, like a lot of properties do in a bad market, this can be a really good option to negotiate as well. Don't be in a rush.